You're listening to From a Certain Point of View, the Star Wars podcast that continues to be as emotionally compromised as Mon Mothma by Andor Season 2, Episodes 4 through 6. If you thought the galaxy couldn't get grimmer, think again. This week we're diving into Cassian's undercover stint as fashion icon Varian. Gotta remember to roleplay this with Binks when I get back. Sky, where espionage meets haute couture. Meanwhile, Saw Gerrera's backstory goes full Jesse Pinkman, bitch, as it gets even darker, revealing his addiction to Rhydonium fumes, a detail that adds a new layer to his already complex character. And it also reminds Darth Matthews of his days huffing paint in his bedroom while painting model cars and wishing his lady friends would just touch his pee-pee. Let's not forget the tragic loss of redacted name goes here during the Ghorman mission, a moment that has sparked intense discussions about representation and narrative choices in the Star Wars universe, because of course it does. Really, that's happening here on Stupid Earth. I'm Jason the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from inside Wookiee Poo Studios. Not alone, though. We got Darth Matthews on the microphone, on the screen, on his home planet, here to talk Andor.
So have you just had the Mon Mothma YouTube loop on at your house for the last 5 days?
I haven't played. I'm waiting for Kyle to go away, and then it's just going to go on the TV in the room. Spend some time together.
I can't believe Star Wars put that on their YouTube channel. That's amazing.
Wait, Star Wars themselves did it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars channel. And it goes for an hour. And just you just get mesmerized watching her dance.
Yeah. You should see what she does when the lights go out. Woo!
Uh-oh. Turn the lights out.
Yeah. I'd be like, no.
Exactly. I need to keep them on, all right? Well, let's just jump into it. From a certain point of skew.com is our site. We are on all the socials at FactPapod. You can email us, factpapod@gmail.com. Nobody did this week. Thanks a lot.
Hey,
God.
Don't be bitches, guys. Come on.
God.
I know there's 4 episodes out, and you have things to say, too, and we want you to say them on our show.
That's right. And you can also leave us a voicemail, 678-322-7277. What's on the show, Jay?
Well, hold on. Before we get to the show, a couple things we talked last week. One, we got to remind Ua that we are on Blue Sky and Threads.
All right.
And he texted me, and he goes, was Matt taking that serious, or he thinks it was a joke? I said, I don't know. He's like, would he come out? I go, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. So
well,
I'll ask you on air.
Let's formalize those plans, and then we'll see if I can make it work.
All right, we'll get back to you.
It's easier for me. It's closer for me than it is for you.
Right.
So.
Well, shit. I just need a couple of days. I'm flying out to Vegas. Let's go. It's a good time out there.
Yeah. But didn't you? What was that? Was that like 5 years ago now? Didn't you go out like shortly after the pandemic start? Like late 2020 or something?
During it, like right when they opened up shit. So I was walking around. You had to have a mask on in certain spots, but yeah, I've been out there 2-3 times now. Yeah,
oh shit!
I think I've been out there 3 times. I love it out there. It's fun. I never thought I'd like it, but it's a good time.
Oh well, good. I've been there. Shoot, maybe 4 times, 5 times, something like that. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. It's always a good time.
Oh, Matt's a one-upper. Okay, on the show today, we've got a question of the week. Rock, paper, shit. He got away. Andor season 2. Episode 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. We've got Ever Been to Ghorman? I have friends everywhere. I hear that's an important line. And What a Festive Evening we'll be covering. And is that it? That's on the fucking show today?
That's it.
All right.
That means we can really take our time with the Andor episodes.
All right, let's go.
I got a lot of notes.
Oh, I bet you do.
Question of the week. So what did the Maya Pei brigade get up to after their encounter with Cassian, our friends that were doing rock, paper, scissors? Did they finish that game of rock, paper, scissors? Did they get devoured by local wildlife? Did they eat more stinky melons? And then we got 4 answers. Or 5 answers, I guess. It's most of the usuals.
Did we discuss that those were Tony Gilroy's kids?
One of them, I thought. Both of them?
I think there were 2.
Okay.
I thought I saw. Yeah, the one, it would definitely, but I think they said that. And then there was on the red carpet or whatever, there was another Gilroy. Is he the editor? Like, this is a family. This is like they bringing in the Kleins, the Kleiners. What are their names? The music.
Yeah, it's Tony, John, and what's the other one?
Ringo.
There you go. I knew it.
Ringo Gilroy.
There probably is one. There's a million of them.
Boy.
And they're all in the business.
Yep.
Brown Leader from Hyperspace Heroes. By the way, shout out. I was watching their stream, not this week, but the last week, I guess it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they were covering episodes, covering episodes 1 through 3. And I put my little name in the ring and won an
saw
Andor
that.
Black Series figure, which they've already sent to me. They're fucking all over it. They're way better
they're
than I am.
fast. I know. What the hell? They don't even want me in control of it. You'll get it 3 years from now.
I feel like they said you win, Matt, and like my doorbell rang and it was already there. It was like, holy shit, well done, guys. So
one of those Amazon drone shipments.
yeah, right. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Appreciate it. I like that you go, wait till they see us regifted.
Yeah.
So Brown Leader says they followed it up with a round of Hokey Pokey, which left them tied. So then they played several rounds of Red Bantha, aka Red Rover, until more of those creatures ran through and ate the rest of them. It's possible. I don't know if we're going to see them again, these people.
I want to know how that big, large Goliath of a thing snuck up on him.
Well, it moves quietly through the,
Yeah.
it's the local. It knows what it's doing.
It's very, very kitty cat like until
Yeah,
it
exactly.
wants to.
They do the slow build up and then bam. Max Rebo says one of the background members started humming a Max Rebo song and everyone else started to join in. Then they were devoured. So they're getting eaten by a lot.
Music to death.
Brian, that's Scotland Brian, says, I pray that big wild pig thing comes back and chomps them all. They were so annoying. Everybody's going to say they're getting eaten, I guess.
You don't want that, though. These are important people later on.
They could be. Adelphi Ranger says, Jack Porkins heard they killed Porco and sought justice. Porco?
Yeah.
Who's Porco?
Porco was part of their group. Or no,
Oh,
Porco was the guy
Porco
that
was
he
the
was
guy
guy
he
he
was
was supposed to meet.
Right,
Yep.
right. I'm forgetting already.
Look at me. I remembered a name.
Good job. And then Jack Porkins would have been alive at this time, so that's good. And then Brown Leader again says they stumbled upon a small village where a younger Carson Teva taught them the values of teamwork, perseverance, discipline, and bravery to whip them into an elite fighting force. Those that remained a few years later volunteered to join Jin on a rogue mission to Scarif. Oh.
Wow. That's
They
a
ended
full
up dying.
story there.
Everybody dies. Yeah, you can make a story out of that. Thank you, everybody, for your answers to the question of the week. You get entries into our giveaway to win the Mask of Fia book.
What if a young Carson Teva is the pilot that crashed?
Oh, that they were talking about
Yeah.
with the radio. Yeah.
Wiggle him in there somehow.
Well, Adelphi Rangers would love it, and Brown and the Hyperspace Hero guys would love it because they talk Carson Teva all day
Right.
long. Okay, we're gonna jump straight into Andor. I wanted to get your overall thoughts on these 3 episodes. I did think I had a couple notes. One was that I wrote down, I guess Tony Gilroy was like, let's remind people what kind of person Luthen is, so when he dies, they won't weep too much because there is a lot. They're making it tougher and tougher to like him in each episode.
Yeah, he seems to be losing his grip as things are getting bigger.
And he doesn't give a fuck about anybody.
Right, well, it's the ends that justify the means, I think. Like, he's all in on, like, if we don't win this, then the Empire does.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, look, his speech gave everything. Like, he can't have compassion or anything for any of this. Like, and it kind of sucks because he really, was it when he was talking to Andor? Was it just Andor? And, he basically is kind of put in his place that, like, we're not just fucking people you can use.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Well, there's so many instances of it throughout where it's just, you can tell that he does not value human life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that, I agree, but I don't think it's because he's sadistic.
No, but I think it also means that he's become so clouded by his mission to win this cause.
Yeah, right.
That he doesn't care about the people that are actually doing the fight.
Yes. I mean, they're doing a really good job at making, like, him and Orson, director, Krennic, they're basically
2 sides of the same coin.
the same coin, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of yin yang, I want to that fucking shot of Cinta and Val in the restaurant. Did you notice that was a great shot.
Very well framed.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was going to say is that one of the things I kind of got out of this arc is that you get this feeling that the only thing holding Cassian back from being like 100% cause-driven maniac is Bix.
Yes.
It makes me think, okay, well, going into the season, I thought, I think maybe there's a way she lives. I don't think she's going to live.
Right.
And I think her dying is going to be the last thing that just snaps him. And then he comes around in Rogue One because he meets somebody like Jin who reminds him of like caring about somebody again.
Yeah.
And that kind of, so it's right at the end, it's right at the death, so to speak, but it kind of brings him back to where he was before I think Bix dies. I think it's kind of, you know what I mean? Does it kind of feel that way?
Yeah.
Any other overall thoughts or do you want to jump into the episodes?
Let's just jump in. I think it's excellent. I have no complaints.
No complaints. Okay.
No complaints.
We'll do it like last week. We'll kind of cover it in chunks, storyline chunks. So let's talk about Ghorman first, episode 4. So Syril is well into his tenure as the local regional director of the Bureau of Standards.
Yeah.
And that chat he's having with Edie while she's got rollers in her hair is just so fucking funny. And she is not down with the Ghormans.
No, she's all in on the propaganda.
She is. I love how he said you're watching too much Imperial news. That was very well done. And the Ministry of Enlightenment really getting it done with the propaganda. They're doing a great job. Everybody's buying it.
Give them a raise.
We love the spiders for this. We see the Ghorman Front, a.k.a. the French Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And they are monitoring Cyril's calls, and he knows it because he's expressing concerns about Ghorman kind of playing it up.
Right.
And he's also sees these people watching him, following him. He's very well aware of what's going on. And this is an interesting group because, like I said, it's very much a French resistance vibe. But the language they're speaking, it sounds like it's a mixture of French and German. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's kind of like, like Spanish and English is Spanglish. It's like...
Yeah, okay.
So what do we want to call that? Frenman?
Furman.
Grench.
Okay, Grench.
So Syril walks through the main square, and that's where this memorial is. And the memorial, we'll find out more about later, is from the Tarkin massacre, which is really interesting and cool how they did that. But there's these people protesting because they're constructing this new Imperial building, which when you see later is fucking massive.
Yes.
I mean, I think I can't remember if they showed it right away. Maybe they did when he first walks in. I didn't really notice it, and then later I saw it when Cassian notices it, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing is big.
Now, is the circle, the dome building, is that where what's-his-face is working right now? Where Cyril's working? Like, is that the Empire and they're building, like, that's like, that was stage one, that was Tower 7, now they're built.
Wow. I didn't think about
big,
what that...
But it's still important.
I get what you're saying. I didn't think about what that was, but it definitely, it kind of has a little Death Star vibe to it, of course.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so that could be where he's working. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's walking through the square. You see all the construction. One of the resistance guys, Sam, who turns out to be a real dipshit.
2 M's.
2 M's, like Tim.
Yep.
Fucking shithead Tim. He gives Syril a spider, and it's got a little message in it, and it's about this meeting he should attend. And then he goes back and relays this all to Dedra, because we learn that he's basically taken this assignment to be her on-the-site operative.
Yes.
Gathering intel for his girlfriend. And he is an eager beaver about this whole thing. He's very excited.
He wants everyone to be proud of him.
I love how he's like, you gonna tell Portagaz about this?
Yeah,
she's like, not yet.
I thought maybe you would.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of important. At the resistance meeting that he later goes to, we see all these people arguing about, how to handle the situation. It's a typical situation where you've got the people who are like, I want to take drastic actions, and you get the people who are like, well, let's be more measured, And but essentially the Empire is kind of choking them out because they're fucking up their trade, they're messing with all their stuff, they're obviously propagandizing them to look like shitheads. So then this bloke named Lazine gets up on the podium and he really starts spitting fire about how pissed off he is about the Empire and how mistreated they all are. And he even drops one of these, which is kind of the equivalent of those, I think. It
was like the Spaceballs, fuck you.
Yeah. They have a lot of great gestures, the Ghormans, because they do the clap, the one hand clap against the chest, and then they do that
which is so fucking pretentious.
It is pretty funny. It's like it's the only thing you would do if you were having something else in your hand. You're like, And they also do this whatever it is. It's like what do they say? Till then, and they do this little gesture with their chest.
Their goodbye.
Yeah, I liked all their little gestures.
It's what Elon Musk needs to take in. Like, instead of shooting that hand out, just a little hand wave, chest out to the air, it's a little bit.
That's fine. That's more of a hello,
safer.
Nice to meet you.
Yep.
But he just couldn't handle it. Nope. Everyone is, pissed about the building, which they think is an armory, and they're right.
Yep.
But that's, the Empire's like, oh no, it's just an annex, I think they call it. And they're worried, hey, this thing's going to cast a shadow over this memorial of this massacre, this Tarkin massacre.
Right.
So the Tarkin massacre is essentially replacing Legends' version of the Ghorman massacre, so that they can actually do a different Ghorman massacre. So I thought it was cool. They're giving the nod to what happened before.
It was smart not to erase it or like for Gilroy to be like, well, mine's better because, they'll just another way to piss these fucking people off that thinks they have ownership over everything Star Wars. Yeah, I'm talking to you, internet.
Well, it's also nice because it sets the stage and is a kind of a root level cause of what's going to eventually become the Ghorman Massacre. So I liked how he did that. So I mentioned there's kind of the more measured approach by some of these people, and that would be, well, sort of, Elector Caro Rylance, which sounds a lot like Ryloth. He's the leader of this front.
Is he the pretty, almost Tony Gilroy lookalike?
Yeah, he is a little bit like that, huh?
Yeah.
He's trying to maintain some semblance of order, and he's just failing miserably. Everybody's pissed off. And after the meeting, he's introduced to Syril, and he's asking him, like, what do you know about the annex being built? And can you appeal to the Empire on their behalf? And Cyril's like, way above my pay grade, guy.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing audits over here. That's all I'm doing. I don't get to see any of that stuff.
I'm a nobody.
Yeah. And then over at I will say, Syril plays it really well with them. Like he does it like note for note, does a really good job.
We're sort of learning like this, definitely he's taken after his father.
Syril?
Right? Yeah, because the mom was like, he left he was an adventurer and all that, and he's really into this. And like when he leaves the house, he does the spy thing with the string on the bottom of the door.
Right. Uh-huh.
Do you think that goes back to like he was rigging all of his shit in his bedroom because he tells his mom in the first season
stop touching
about,
my box?
I have ways of knowing you are in my room. So
he probably is.
He's been doing this as a kid, man.
Yeah, because he's happy when he finds that string broken. He's like, I knew it.
Right.
Over at the ISB headquarters, Portagaz is just reaming supervisors as usual. I love watching it every time. It's great. And he's shitting all over one of the supervisors about their lack of intel from all these arrests they're doing. He's like, these arrests are all great, but what the fuck are you getting out of it?
Right.
And I like how the one guy said, well, we have a lot of thoughts. And he's like, pick one. Whoa. They're thinking these arrests might be related to access. And that's when Lonnie kind of comes to the guy's defense and is like, look, we got too many people and not enough resources to cover all the people we've arrested. So everybody's having these problems. And of course, Lonnie does this as a way to kind of, as a long play to be like, I'm going to get in with this guy's good graces and then I can, pump him for info.
Yep.
When Portagaz says after that it's all done, he's like, well played, Lonnie. It kind of works on two levels.
Yeah, it does. Right.
And Dedra's old assistant, Hirt, I think is how you say his name. He is now the guy who's on Access.
Right. He's got her old job, basically.
He's getting pretty big for his britches, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
What does he say to her?
I thought she was going to put the gloves on, but she handled it pretty well.
She did. I like how he says something like, did you ever think he picked me because I don't seek glory? And she does that. She literally moves her head back like, oh.
Yeah.
Kitten has claws. And I liked how she said, you've given me a lot to think about. This whole time on Coruscant, Cassian and Bix are living in this safe house. And, we're 2 years in, and Bix is still having visions and nightmares about Dr. Gorst. It's just constant for her. But now, those are being conflated with current missions because she's seeing Dr. Gorst torture this guy that's this soldier that is actually the guy Cassian killed on her behalf because he saw her face.
Right.
So she's mixing all of it together. So clearly she is struggling with all the stuff that they're dealing with currently and in the past. So then later on, she questions Cassian about that killing. Like, why'd you have to kill that guy? And he's trying to convince her, and I think maybe himself, that he did the right thing.
Yeah.
By killing that guy. It's like, look, it's war. This is what you signed up for.
And like we find out as the episode goes, I mean, it's basically his whole goal is protecting her.
Yes, because I think he feels so guilty about the last 2 times he's left her. Bad shit's happened. So
right.
He's very, very protective of her. And then he also, when he's talking to her about all of this, he says a line that I think is something we alluded to earlier, and it's something that just keeps coming into play as a running theme throughout these episodes, and that is that Luthen only cares about results. So, yeah. And then, like you said, Krennic same way, Portagaz same way, so.
Right, yeah.
2 very similar situations. She is pressing Cassian about wanting to be more involved, but again, he can't guarantee her protection. So he's like reluctant to do stuff. He doesn't want her to do anything without him. If she's going to be involved in a mission, he's got to be there.
Right, yeah. So he can protect her.
Right. So then Luthen meets with Cassian and tells him he needs to go to Ghorman and find out what the hell's going on. and he wants to see if it's a cause they can get involved with before Rylands basically starts doing stuff himself. He's like, these guys are going to go off half-cocked. Yep. It's not going to go well. He insists that Cassian go alone, no Bix.
Yeah.
And of course, he's pissed about that, doesn't like that idea. And then before he heads out, Cassian and Bix do this little intimate, like a Ferrex ritual maybe, of kind of rubbing, tracing each other's hands and each other and all that kind of stuff.
You can feel my body heat, but don't touch my flesh.
Yeah, at the end of them touching each other's hands, he's like, fuck, I just came, sorry.
It's like a real intimate game of chicken.
He takes off, and then we see that Bix is developing a bit of a drug problem.
Banks. I think she's got a handle on it. What do you mean a problem?
I mean, it's just a little dropper of some
it's
fluid.
just at night, take the edge off.
It's nothing that's like it's nothing hard. It's just trying to deal with her and help her cope, with all her trauma. So we do get a quick update on your gal Mon. She is working overtime, trying to whip up votes to prohibit the Empire from all this surveillance and all these arrests. It's part of that Pord that we learned about in season 1.
Right.
She has a great line. Are we finding criminals or making them? Which is a great line and very, very reminiscent of certain situations. She's not having a lot of luck, though. I know she'd have your vote, Jay, but even the Ghorman guy is like, I don't want to poke the bear. I think we're just gonna...
Well, I mean, I think he's still suffering from Tarkin's last drop.
Right, which was 16 years ago. But
he doesn't want to put his people through any of that shit. Like, he's actually felt the force of the fucking Emperor, not just the threat. So,
right,
I can see where he's coming from, but he looks like he doesn't want to make that decision. But he's filled with fear.
Is this the guy? I forgot to look this up. Is this one of the people that show up in that meeting they have in Rogue One, where they're all trying to decide if they should unite and go forward and fight the Empire when Jyn gives her plea?
Oh, I don't know.
He looks kind of like the one guy in there, but maybe it's not the same guy. I meant to look that up. Anyway,
his name was where I've heard it before, so it could be. I wasn't sure if maybe he popped up in season 1 or maybe it could have been Rogue One. You
know what scene I'm talking about, where they're all kind of standing around talking about it, and then in the end they decide can't do anything about it, and that's when they go off and decide to go make the run to Scarif anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
At the base?
At Yavin, yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah. Finally, Dakar. We find out it's Dakar, the place that they were on in Force Awakens. Is that
right? Did you see the Twitter sphere blow up about this? Like, all the fucking sequel haters were like, of course they gotta fucking shoe in the sequels. They're getting all mad.
Oh,
this is before I even watched the episode. I was like, okay, first of all, slow your fucking roll. It's been out for 6 hours. Like, God. Losing their fucking minds.
The spoiler drops are killing me, man.
Oh my God, I know. I had to shut Twitter. I was like, I can't even go on social media. Like, give me a minute. Give me 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like when I went. So my lady friend and I watch The Last of Us, but we're always way behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would have been last week. There was all of a sudden I saw this stuff on Twitter and I was like, well, that ruined the episode 2 for me. I still haven't watched episode 2, and I'm like, I know what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming, but yeah, I was like, that one didn't bother me because I knew about it, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you just can't fucking anything you're into, man. You gotta mute 700 words.
My method has always been when we do these things, I don't say anything in a tweet that's a giveaway until like next week.
Right.
Right before the new episode drops. I figure you give it a few days. At least.
Even in our intro, I redacted a name.
Exactly.
I was thinking of the people. Yeah.
Even though we're going to immediately talk about it.
Yeah, but they have a choice. They can get to that part of the episode and be like, hey, spoilers are coming up in this episode. They can pause it. When they watch it, come back and listen.
Yeah. Shout out Chris Meyer. He was like, when he messaged me, I guess last week, and he goes, I've listened to 2/3 of your episode 1 through 3 recap because I've only watched the first 2 episodes.
There we go.
Like, well, I'm glad it's working for you that way.
Oh yeah.
Yes, this is the future base of the Resistance on Dakar. The Saw and the Partisans are there hanging out. Wilmon is there, and he's going to sell this device to Saw that can extract Rhydonium safely.
Right.
Now, you remember Rhydonium from previous shows, like it was in Clone Wars, it was in Rebels.
Yep.
It's essentially coaxium, but it gives you a better high.
Ooh.
And we're going to find out about that in a minute with Saw. He wants to know who taught Wilmon how to handle this device, And he won't say. I'm guessing it's his pops, right?
Right. I was getting the same impression, yeah.
I think so.
So he taught me how to make dirty bombs and to suck the shit out of Rhydonium.
And then you get this guy, Pluty, who's brought forward. And at first, so I recognized him at first. And for a second, I thought, is that one of the Maya Pei guys that we just saw in the last
That's
arc?
what I was thinking, yeah.
But it's actually the guy is a guy who played a character in 1883. Did you watch that series?
I was wondering when I was watching, like the last part of when I saw him, it hit me. He's the European guy that him and his family, and they're the ones. I think he ends up dying in the show.
Well,
spoiler alert.
There's your spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's like Yosef or something, and he is the leader of that crew that they hire Sam Elliott and crew to get them.
I think he's one of the few that can speak some English.
Correct.
So he can like translate for his family. Yeah, okay.
Right. So he becomes kind of the leader. So I was sitting there going, I know this guy. Why do I know this guy? Wilmon is supposed to teach this guy how the machine works, but he's got to teach him all these variations because Saw won't tell him which station they're going to hit.
Right.
He's going to be there with Pluty until he learns them all, and he's not going to leave. He's like, I'm supposed to leave tomorrow. He's like, no, you're not. Or you better work quick. And we're to assume that Wilmon has been sent there by Luthen, right?
Right. And we kind of, is this where we were under the assumption that he's not ever going to leave?
That's next episode.
Except for this Earth? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's next episode when you realize that.
Are we still on episode 4?
That's 4. We're on to 5 now.
Wow. Oh, okay.
We're taking our time.
Damn.
We don't have any other stuff. We don't have news.
I'm fine.
Mall bags. Although we got to get cracking on that May the 4th episode.
Yeah.
So on Coruscant, Cassian is visiting a shop where he gets a fake identity of a fashion designer named Varian Sky. Very nice science fiction-y name. So he can travel to Ghorman without raising any flags. And I love how they give him the full backstory, like all the way back to his childhood and all this stuff. Now, did you know who the voice was in his earpiece?
I assume it's because I saw on Twitter that What's His Face had a part, and I didn't see his face, so I assumed it was Sam Whitmer.
It was Sam Whitmer. Sam Whitmer.
Governor Whitmer.
Governor Whitmer. Your governor. Yeah. Yes, it was Sam Whitmer, who just keeps, his voice pops up fucking everywhere. But he's the one doing the voice in the earpiece, of course. So Cassian checks into his hotel on Ghorman as Sky. It got a nice view of that Tarkin massacre memorial.
Right.
It's a fucking perfect shot of the plaza. And he questions the bellhop about that. He's like, what's the deal? What happened there? And the bellhop tells him that it is where Tarkin landed, and his father was killed in the process.
Yep.
So it's very personal for him. And Cassian then goes to the local coffee shop and meets Enza Rylands, which is Caro's daughter, to touch base. And boy, he just lays into her for being sloppy, doesn't he? You don't know who the fuck I am?
Right. Like calls her out, wait away. Then like at the end of it, he's like, and the people that are following me, just call them off. Like,
right. I can see them all.
So
they're just
noticeable. Yeah.
They're drawing more attention than they should.
Right.
Yeah. But I do like how he lays into her about all this stuff about, I could be this, I could be this. You could have, put all these people in jeopardy, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like you see his face just flip a switch. He goes, I'll come by the shop tomorrow. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
He goes right back into play mode. So the next day he goes to their shop. On the walk over, that's when you see the annex being built, which is just massive. So Caro tells Cassian that the Imperial building is an armory and that they want to steal some of the cargo and then use it as proof to show that these violations of the Imperial Charter.
So when he was in the French Resistance meeting in the last episode, and they were kind of guessing whatever, was this holding back the information that he knew to be true? And that because they were like guessing, and this one he's just like, we know this, we found out about this.
Yes, I get the impression that he's trying to keep all the Ghormans from acting until they feel like they've got the case made and they can then go full hog. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So little do the people that are complaining to him know in that meeting that he's already got this game working.
Right.
He's been talking to Luthen, he's been doing all this shit, but all on the sly. And also maybe because of the fact that there's a lot of people at that meeting, so he doesn't want to, maybe he's playing a role so that it doesn't look.
That's what I was thinking, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's also like, we're going to steal this stuff and expose the Empire, but also, we could use the guns. So we're going to keep those. And they say they have an Imperial source. And this is great because Cassian's like, they're real good at feeding false information, right?
Right.
Fucking ding, right on the nailed it. How little does he know that it's his old friend, Syril?
Yeah, but Syril he hasn't told him that was an armory.
No, he's saying they have an Imperial source. The Imperial source didn't confirm it's an armory, but he's just their source.
Right. Okay.
And so Cassian doesn't know exactly what the source said. He doesn't know how they know it's the armory, but he's saying like, if you get an Imperial source, they're probably feeding you a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
The Ghorman front then show their plan to him for stealing the weapons, sliding him down that transport and all that stuff, or down to the transport below. And then that's when he brings up good points with Rylands. He's like, because he says something like, do you have experience with this or something? He's like, stealing? Yeah, I'm pretty experienced with that.
Right.
But he goes, look, you're stealing, then you're going to stay at the scene of the crime because it's in your home. And then you're going to brag about it by fucking exposing it all. You're setting yourself up for disaster here. Like, this is stupid.
Yep.
You steal and then get the fuck out of there. That's the hardest part.
What's he say? He says the hard part's not stealing.
It's getting
away with it. Yeah.
So he says, basically, I'm out. I like how the last scene he has with Caro's like, tell your friend I'm very disappointed. I'm not impressed. That's what it was. So back to Syril, who's informing Edie that he's coming home for a visit to Coruscant. And then that's when the ISB agents come breaking into his office looking for bugs. We actually see the gal who's been orchestrating this from locally for the resistance.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That little device there. He's real dramatic about this invasion.
Oh, yeah, he is.
We're to assume Dedra set this up, right? To like...
Yeah, I think so.
Play the whole part of, okay, he's the good guy and he's mad about all this. And they're going to see that he's continuing to get harassed by the ISB. Because later... they find the info from Orlana 1 about how he was treated by the ISB in the wake of Ferrix.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, this guy hates the ISB. So we can get him on that front. And then later they meet him and they say that the ISB is running a shadow government. So they're playing up this whole thing of, hey, look, we're down with the Empire because we know you are. Right. But it's the ISB that's the problem. So work with us and we'll protect the Empire and the Emperor. It's really clever how they're doing that. It's
it is smart.
Very spy game shit.
Uh-huh.
They ask, the whole time they don't know Cyril's playing them, but they ask him to get this info on the shipments coming in so they can figure out what's being built. So later he gets that info to them and hands it over to the front, which, includes some material that requires military security, which is kind of their, this is a military operation that they're setting up. He then heads back to Coruscant and goes straight to Dedra's place.
Yeah, he does.
And this is the scene we got a glimpse of before the season started.
Yeah.
This is where she says, I had Portagaz. Portagaz had me, follow you, had some people follow you. So I know you've been being safe. He can only stay for 1 hour. And then she tells him to turn out the lights and get his dick out. She said that, right? That's
exactly what she said.
I like how the lights go out. It fades to black, but it still holds in the scene for a second. And then you hear the zipper, right? You heard that?
I heard that.
So he gets a meeting after that with Portagaz. Sorry. And that's where he's like sharing what he knows, that he's made contact with the leader of the Ghorman front. And I love the line when Syril says they're planning something and he says they're inexperienced but eager. And Portagaz goes, how often those attributes align, looks at Dedra and Dedra like goes, ooh. Syril, do you think Syril understood that he was throwing that right back in his face? I don't know that he was.
Yeah, I don't think he caught it. I think he's too proud of himself or looking for someone to be very proud of him.
Yes.
Both. Yeah.
He got those daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Despite his sassiness, Portagaz is on board with the plan. And he's like, okay, we'll keep the shipments running. Make sure the front gets their victory so they grow more bold and all that. And then we get this line as he leaves because he says, excellent work, Syril. And Syril says, if I say this is the greatest day of my life, does it spoil everything?
Did you see how fucking heartbroken she was?
Yes.
Like, she's like, motherfucker, you saved my life.
Yeah.
Like that, we're together and now you're like, oh, my boss. She didn't like
I think
any
it's
of that.
part that and it's part her being like, you're pathetic. This is the greatest day of your life is this particular moment. You know what I mean?
That
it's a
could
combo
be.
of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right, though. I think she was a little bit like, because she goes, it's nice to see you happy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Clea is doing her phone operator bit and she discovers that Skolden found a fake in his gallery of artwork. Not theirs, but a different one. But now that means all the pieces are going to be yanked out of there and re-examined for authenticity, which is an issue because they've got one of the device or the
right.
pieces bugged. So she learns that the day after the party, they're going to take it all out. So she's like, well, We got to remove it the night of the party. So she tells Luthen, and he fucking freaks out.
Yeah.
He's starting to feel overwhelmed by all the things. He literally says, I can't keep track of it all anymore.
Yep. Well, I mean, they're shouting at each other back and forth. And I really want to know the backstory with them. And I think we get it in the next arc, but like, I'm really curious between these two because I can't figure out the relationship and why she seems to have just as much power as him.
Yes, it's a good point. Cause at times we thought, is this his wife? Like, are they living together?
Right.
Or not?
Because she calls him on his shit.
Right. You kind of can't tell if it's a spousal type relationship or like a father-daughter relationship where the daughter's like bossing her dad around going, you fucking idiot, you're getting old and losing it, and I'm trying to keep us all together.
I'm wiping your ass back there. But you notice like when he, maybe it's the next episode, there's one where he comes out of the sliding door like at night, right? Comes into the back of the museum. I think we saw her do the same thing at one point. So they both live there.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of gauge, but you're right. We're going to get a lot more, I think, in this next arc on those two. Clea, is basically like, we're going to go to the party and remove the thing. Okay. You fucking pussy. Can you just settle down?
Yeah.
Then later we see, or at a different time, we see Luthen go pay a visit to Bix at the safe house.
Yeah.
And her reaction when she opens the door was perfect. She's like, oh, like it's the man in uniform showing up at your door when you're like a mother of a child in World War II or something, like, oh no, he's dead. He goes, oh no, no,
right.
it's not
yes,
that.
Yes. He goes, it's not that. Like right away.
Yeah. It's kind of like when the school for your kid would call and they'd always go, Johnny's okay. They always start with that line. Right. So before they tell you he fell off the swings and lost his teeth. He says, I'm just checking up on you. He discovers she's using those drugs. Mm-hmm. And he tells her it works for a while until you stop using them. And then the dreams come back worse. Then I guess we're just going to have to keep using them, aren't we, Luthen?
Right. Yeah. You better get me more of this shit.
That's how drugs work. You just keep going.
She's smart enough to know like he came there for a reason, right? Do you think he did? Or because I'm on the fence whether she called him out and assumed he was going to say something, found the thing, and that's what stopped him. Because to me, I was thinking he sent fucking
Cassian.
Right, but I wanted to call him, was it Varian Sky?
Varian Sky, yeah.
He sent him away on purpose, like, because he was like, she can't go with you. Because I think he wanted to go check and see what the fuck is going on.
I certainly think that's part of it. I think he wanted to, I think it worked in all aspects. Okay. I think he thought probably it's a better cover for him to just go by himself, but also it allows me to get a gauge on exactly what the hell's going on because he's so protective of her. I need to know where she is now. I need to know where she stands because she's been through a lot of shit and she's one of our soldiers and I want to know how she's doing.
Yeah.
Because he wants her, they keep getting this whole thing. We need you healthy. We need you healthy. They keep saying that. And that's, I think, a double purpose because one, he wants her healthy to help the cause. And two, he doesn't want her holding back Cassian.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
it's probably more the latter than the former.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cassian's his star, spy guy.
Right.
They later go back to show poor Bix, who's just, chilling, sipping on that dropper, and watching countless hours of Kathy Lee and Hoda Kotb.
Fucking A.
Good Morning Coruscant.
Oh, man.
I mean, this seems like a show that Edie would also watch. So I think there was a missed opportunity there for Tony. And, take a note here, Tony. When they were showing Edie with Syril, they should have had the show on at Edie's and zoomed in on it and then zoomed out to show Bix watching it at the same time.
Yeah, right.
God damn it, Tony. Come on. That show is hilarious, though.
We're always fixing your shit.
All they were missing was the white wine glasses,
Exactly.
It was totally those two. But you get the idea that they're flooding all media sources with this stuff, like that propaganda machine is working overtime. And just, it's tough to watch Bix again because she's like virtually burnout status at this point. She's kind of getting strung out on this drug, and she's also fucking miserable because whenever Cassie's not around, she's sad, but also she's just like, I'm living in this stupid safe house.
She doesn't want to be there, right? Yeah.
Back on Dakar, Wilmon is trying to get Pluty up to speed on this Rhydonium machine, and he's just struggling to keep it straight. And that's later when we see Pluty.
So basically, this machine is like a safe cracker, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like they're trying to break the code to open up the it's like a seal, because then they got the hoses and they're just stealing it. Or
correct.
I guess there's like a gas release too.
But you're tapping into it. But the thing is, there's all these different variations based on the station you're at that you need to know the correct one to use, or else the whole fucking thing will blow up in your face.
Yeah, it's like a mechanical siphoning gas.
Right.
That's what they're doing. Yep.
Pluty's just struggling, and then that's later when you see him tell Saw, I can do one, but I need to know what our target is, and I don't have to memorize all these other variations.
Right.
And Saw's sniffing this shit out, and he tells him, okay, well, we're going to hit the Marquez moon tomorrow night. Obviously, this is just a setup, and that's when you said that Saw goes, what about the kid? We don't really need him anymore, so we can get rid of him. He's seen too much. And Pluty's like, I think you might want to keep him around just in case.
Do you think this is the beginning of his paranoia, or do you think that he really was a traitor?
Do I think that Pluty was a traitor or not?
Yeah.
I don't know. They found that device on him, and the way he was asking that question, I think that there was some legitimacy, but it's a good question, because at the time when I watched it the first time, I thought, I wonder if that's real or if he's just imagining it and then kills this guy because of it.
Right.
I think he probably was up to no good.
Okay.
I don't know. You think it maybe was a plant, like that device he holds up is just bullshit, and he's like, see, this is proof. And then he was...
Yeah, I think it was, to me, we're starting to see seeds of that paranoia he has, because in Rogue One,
very
he's
paranoid.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Right? Who's at the door?
At this point, he doesn't have Bolgullet, so he can't turn that creature loose on this guy.
Right, yeah. That's right.
So later, they're loading up the device and getting ready, and that's when Saw asks Wilmon, he's like... is Pluty ready to go? Like, is he operational? Can he do it without your help? And that's when Wilmon's like, look, man, I did the best I could, because he pulls a gun on him.
Right. I mean, the writing's so good because you're kind of buying it that he's the one that's going to be killed.
Yes, for sure. And then turns and blasts Pluty right in the face.
Man. Fucking laser bounces off his forehead.
They decide, okay, well, we got to get out of here. Let's pack up. Let's go leave the car, leave no trace behind, other than Pluty's body, which is that shot we saw in the trailer. Yeah. And then later, while Wilmon's working on hooking up that machine to steal the Rhydonium, Saw delivers quite a monologue.
Sure. But hold on, go back a minute. Before they leave, like, he's like, this guy was a traitor, blah, blah, blah. And like, everyone's all fucking like, we're with you, Saw. And not one person's like, poor fucking Pluto.
Well, maybe everybody got a sniff of that. But they're also probably watching out for their own hides, and they're totally fixed on their leader. So they're just like, he made the right call. I don't know. We trust him.
He's kind of a cult leader, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I think that's part of his allure. That's how he gets them to do what he wants them to do, But they believe in the cause, so they believe in him. I don't know. I mean, you've seen all of his experiences in Clone Wars and all that stuff. We see where this all built.
Oh, sure.
He talks about that. He's talking about his experiences on Andor and how he was, forced to work on this Rhydonium stuff. And it's funny because he's going on, and the whole time that Wilmon in his head is like, can you shut the fuck up so I can concentrate?
Yeah. This shit's really poisonous. We don't want to breathe this in. Little do we know.
Yeah.
Fucking Captain Huff and Puff back there is like wiggling in his shoes. Fucking bring it on.
Get that shit open yet?
Yeah.
So
I need a fix.
Saw shares, how they were forced to work in the jungle, doing all this stuff, and how it how it affected people. And I had that great line. You could when they had a leak, he said you could feel it before you could smell it, which I thought was a great line. Then Wilmon gets the machine sorted. He opens the valve, and the second those fumes start pouring out, I don't think I've ever seen Saw move so fast.
I know,
like way over there. He talks about it, the Rhydonium as his sister, which of course he lost his sister.
He refers to it like metaphorically, right?
Yes, but it's clear that the Rhydonium is working on many levels for him. It's partially nostalgic, but also something that's feeding him in some way because of the drug reaction.
It also like makes him feel. I think there's a part of it was like, look at nothing can kill me. Yeah,
right. And he it's almost like he feels this weird bond with the Rhydonium. Like it's they're one and the same.
Yeah. But, he's also offering that information after he's had a few puffs. So
it's like sitting around when you're high, like, dude,
Yeah. Now, do you think this goes now to Rogue One where he's walking around? We always thought it was an oxygen tank.
Yeah, maybe it's the Rhydonium.
Yeah.
It could be.
Is it like him just, taking quick little one-hitters? And that's why he's always fucking paranoid and out of his fucking mind?
I think there's a very good chance that's what it is. The only reason why it would actually be oxygen is if he's done so much Rhydonium over the years that he's just a fucking mess. But
yes.
I think there's a good argument to be made that he's taken some wax off the Rhydonium.
Yeah. I think he becomes a bit addicted.
Yes. Well, at some point you'll see later in the series, he's going to tell Wilmon, he's going to be like, can you make some sort of device I could wear in my backpack or something?
Yeah. He wants a big old Beskar vest with a tank on the back.
You do that, you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he says another great line. He's talking to him about the cause, essentially. And he said, we'll all be dead before the Republic's back. But look, here we are, still fighting, being part of the fight.
Right.
And then that's when he basically tells Wilmon, he's like, yo, you got to hit this shit. And he does. He takes off his mask and breathes it in and gets those sweet, sweet Rhydo fumes.
I'm trying to think, now there's a part of me that's wondering if, because we made the joke about the vest and the armor thing he's got on, but it's got, all these fucking, knobs and gears. And that machine I wonder if he, has a version made where he's basically the walking fucking, just plugs himself into these ports.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Does
he know all the variations, or he's made it user friendly, so he just has to hit a button?
I think so. He just pops his little fucking joystick in there and fills the backpack up, and he's good to go.
I couldn't believe Wilmon going for it and just sucking that shit in, and he was screaming the reaction he had to it. But that's a high he's going to chase the rest of his life.
Right, and it's also showing this kid is just more and more for this cause. He's just trying to find that purpose.
Well, I think in a small way he's inspired by Saw, but in tying back to what he's lost with his father, he's just you know what, fuck it, let's go for it because I'm pissed at the Empire for what they took from me. Then he and Saw even likens the Rhydo at some point to kind of their cause, and says we're things that explode when there's too much friction in the air. That's what he says. So that's the end of episode 5. We get to episode 6, and that's when we open on Steer Guard. So finally, we get to see this mysterious Steer Guard that we've heard so much about.
Right.
And Cassian's getting picked up by Luthen and the Fondor. And now the conversation they have is really interesting because Cassian tells Luthen what the Ghorman Front's up to and how they just aren't ready. This plan is doomed to fail in the long run. And Luthen's like, cool. He's like, wait. Because again, he doesn't care if it succeeds.
Right. No, he sees the big picture.
He just wants to fucking light the rebellion there. And then when you consider that Luthen knows this about how doomed the Ghorman Front is, yet he then sends Vel and Cinta there and had sent Cassian there. So you see how he doesn't care, it's all just pawns. Even though later you hear Vel say, if we don't like it, we'll walk. But I think the whole time he's thinking, I'm putting these two together because they're in love and they're going to stick together on this mission and do what I want them to do.
If they're in the same place, neither of them are running. Well, Cinta's just for the cause anyways, but he knows Vel, if she's finally around her, isn't going anywhere.
Right. So when he calls Kalea later, Luthen, we learn that she's already sent Vel there. Vel's already fucking on site, and because they had figured Cassian was going to bail on it anyway.
Right.
Or in case he was, she was the contingency.
Yep.
Back at ISB headquarters, Partagaz tells Lonnie and Hirt, that's the name of the Dedra's old number 2, I wrote it down there, that Dr. Gorst is going to be utilized by more than just the ISB going forward. He's going to be moved to another facility. I can't speak. Now, is it a coincidence that this information goes to Lonnie, or is Partagaz trying to snuff out a mole inside the ISB by giving him this information?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I just assumed it was coincidence.
I think it probably
Although
is.
It's probably going to work as a back door. I mean, he's smart enough to be he's going to see what happened, reverse engineer this thing. I got to talk to these two fucking fools.
Yes. So it's between those two because I told just these two people. They know about it only, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up dead right away.
Mm-hmm.
So Lonnie's kind of exposing himself here, potentially.
Yep. Yeah.
Or maybe it'll fall on Hirt.
We got to put him on Dead Man's Bingo.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Because, I didn't think about that until the second time I watched it. The first time I thought, I just kind of took it at face value, but the second time I thought, I wonder if he's planting that seed. And then I like how Partagaz hands out the assignment, and then when Hirt is eager beaver about it, he tells him to calibrate his enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that just for you.
Oh, I love it. It was pretty good.
Cassian goes back to the safe house, finds out about Luthen paying Bix a visit. He is not happy. He is just, you can tell he's losing his patience with Luthen. He's like, this motherfucker.
Well, yeah, it's like, don't come into my fucking house.
Yeah, exactly.
Stare at my Binks in her PJs.
And then not tell me about it after you do it.
Right. Yeah, I was just with you. You didn't say a damn word.
Yeah, did you like how later Luthen said, I'm kind of disappointed that she told you?
Right.
Fuck.
She can't keep a secret. I'm supposed to be the boss.
So later when he goes to the gallery to scream at him, Cassian, to scream at Luthen, that's when he's like, listen, man, if Bix is going to be a liability to us, should we? He's kind of implying like maybe we shouldn't have Bix in play here. And Cassian is like, if you want me to be like fully invested in your cause here, you need to fix this shit. Like we need to get Bix back on track, and she needs to be with me.
And boy, does he fucking listen.
He does listen, because yes, the next mission they go on appears to be set up by Luthen for this purpose, and it's Cassian and Bix going to pay Dr. Gorst a little visit. She shoves him in the chair, locks him down, puts the headphones on, and gives him all the lines that he gave her, turns that shit up to 11, and fucking leaves the room.
Yeah, enjoy this shit show.
Don't you love the pullback of the observation room and him screaming? Oh, that was cool.
And is that sort of like the same room that Syril was in when he was being interrogated, right? Because remember, like, Deirdre was watching from like the two-way window with a couple of people. Right. She had to walk around to go on that door, so it was similar. It
looked like that, and it also kind of looked like the room that, oh God, I forget her name now, but the gal that was watching the guy get the mind flare in Andor, or in Mandalorian.
Right, yes.
Kind of looked like that. Then they walk out, blow the... I mean, the good thing is the guy didn't have to suffer too long, although it would feel like forever because they blow the fucking place up shortly after. The note I had here, too, was just that hopefully this is going to help exorcise some of the demons for Bix, at least for the Dr. Gorst thing.
Right, yeah.
She's completely eradicated him from the earth, so hopefully that helps. Maybe she'll get off the drugs now, or maybe not. Maybe she'll try that Rhydo.
I'm wondering if they're one and the same.
You think those are the same thing?
Like it's a form of it. That's, they use whatever as the chemical to make that drug to get that high.
I don't know. I think it's different only because it feels like the Rhydo has a different effect on you. Hers is just like a numbing thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, let's get to your gal Mon. They show her at the Senate first, and they're doing the daily Pledge of Allegiance. What the fuck was that?
No, I think this was like them all agreeing to be all in on Palp's rules, right?
But do you think it was a one-time, or like this is the daily thing they read?
Oh, I think
every
this
day
was something new, because she wasn't like going through the steps. She was.
But there was a call and answer, like you're in church.
True. Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like it was something they were doing all the time, and she was fed up with saying it out loud.
It could be.
They show her and Perrin arriving at Skolden's party later, and lo and behold, who do they run into?
Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah. Not Bail Organa.
Nope. Not seen since Miss Congeniality.
I think we've seen him since then.
Yeah. He's in Poker Face.
Is he in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this was the recast we heard rumors about. Now you fucking jerks couldn't keep it to yourself.
I know.
Watched the season early. Gilroy had said about this. It was a scheduling issue that prevented him from bringing Jimmy Smits back. And I took a quick look at Jimmy's list of projects, and I'm not seeing much on there, Jay.
He's shooting. Well, you're right. Like it doesn't feel like it lines up with, because he's shooting the Dexter. Is it the Dexter sequel or the prequel? Regardless, he's in one of those. He was in the original Dexter, right? Wasn't he in like
maybe I didn't watch
4 or 5? Okay, so I think he's coming back. John Lithgow's coming back. There's a bunch of characters. So but they just started shooting that recently. So I don't know what he was doing before then.
Maybe it was a money situation. Who knows? And he just called it a schedule situation.
Maybe one of those things where like the agents are like, well, he's played this character a few times. He's going to want some money for this. Meanwhile, Smits is just chilling around his pool like, I could use a fucking check to get some goddamn chlorine for this thing.
His agent fucked it up?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
I went back to him, Jimmy, and I asked for this because, trust me, let's just play the long game. So Benjamin Bratt's playing you now.
Well, yeah, you're just hearing Jeremy Renner was on a podcast talking about they wanted to shoot season 2 of Hawkeye, and they offered him less money than what they offered him for season 1.
And he's like, I'm out?
Yeah. He's like, no, I turned him down. He goes, if they would have said the same thing, I would have made it. He's like, but for them to offer me less, he's like, what? Because I got ran over? I'm less of a person? I get paid less, is what he said.
I got medical bills, man.
Right, yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, apparently Kathleen Kennedy was the one who suggested Benjamin Bratt.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think he's a good choice.
You know, the Teen Beat fucking pictures she had on her walls when she was a kid.
She still has the poster up. So when
Right.
the idea came around, like, who are we going to have play Bale? She's like, I got the guy.
Right. Also, I think she's 20 years older than him.
I'm sure. Yeah, right. Oh my God. What is your thought on the recasting? How are you feeling about that?
I'm not torn. Like, I like seeing Jimmy Smits and stuff, but I think Benjamin Bratt is just as well. So
yeah, I think he's good. It's not. I mean, it's not like they fucking Tom Hanks walked in. It's somebody who works.
Whitewashed Bail Organa.
Hi guys.
Oh my God. Do you imagine?
Oh, that would not go well.
Well, he's not white. I was going to say the only way they'd get away with it is like it was like Pedro Pascal, because you could put that fucker in anything, in any role, and everyone's gonna be like, all right.
Yeah, I like Pedro.
Yeah.
He's always good in whatever he does.
Yep.
Yeah. Could you imagine if he showed up as that role? It'd be so confusing. Wait a minute. That's Din Djarin. No. Different guy.
No. Yeah.
Some people were kind of scoffing at first about like, why would you bring him in for just this like totally inconsequential scene? It's like, because they're going to show him later. They're not going to just show him for that
like
little.
No one's ever watched a fucking TV show before. There's this thing called reoccurring character?
Right. It's and Tony Gilroy came out and said, he's like, the reason I had him in that little tiny scene is so that people could get it out of their system and talk about it. And then next arc, he's going to be more in it.
I think I read about that this morning. I was like, just another reason for him to show how brilliant he is.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm on to you Star Wars fools. Oh, you ain't getting one over on me.
It's my first rodeo.
Right.
So on to the party.
Although next week, Lawrence Fishburne shows up as Saw Gerrera.
I would take it.
Yeah.
I do like Forrest Whitaker though. All the people are kind of showing up at this party. The ISB supervisors are there. They got tossed an invite, so they get to show up. And at one point, Mon pulls Luthen aside and asks her. This is a very telling conversation. He asks him, "Where's her cousin?" And he's like, "Oh, I sent her and a girlfriend to Death Trap." No, he didn't say it. But he's like kind of playing dumb about her whereabouts, and then Mon's like, "Well, can you let her know that I'd like her to check in?" And he starts thinking like what's her angle here? He's like, "Oh, do you need me to get her a message or something?" She's like, "No, I fucking care about her." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I mean, he doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's so detached from humanity. He's so driven by this cause that he doesn't think about that. It's just it's very telling.
Blinders on. He's got tunnel vision.
Yeah. Now, these scenes with Clea and Lonnie fucking killed me. He looks so uncomfortable, and she is bossing him around, and it is so great.
He's never spoken to a woman in his life.
No, he's got a wife.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he's got a wife and kid. Remember that was the whole thing he was saying to Luthen why he wanted to get out? He's like, I got a
fucking
kid
droid with plastic flesh over her.
Could be.
It's a T-120.
The only thing better than their exchanges were the exchanges between Mon and Krennic. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And apparently, Mendelsohn said later, he's like, we filmed so much dialogue because we didn't even really know what they were doing in the background, to be honest with you. Like, they literally were, whatever they were doing back there, they filmed it that way to say, you guys just keep talking. They're doing something behind you. And he's like, so there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor because we just kept having to talk about all these different things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But they're just trading jabs left and right. Every time he would
intellectual foreplay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Every time he would say something like positive about the ISB or the Empire or something, Mom would just immediately shit all over it. It was great.
What was his line? Is like my war, or what does he say? Did you write that down?
Your rebel is my terrorist or something like that?
Yeah, something. Yeah. It was really smart the way he said it. He called her out.
The whole time, don't you think Perrin's kind of got this look on his face like, am I going to have to fuck this dude up?
Right.
I don't think that's going to go well for me.
Right. Yeah. He's like, God damn, I got to watch these two go at it again.
Clea is trying to get this damn device out while this is happening and keeps repositioning Lonnie to block the view.
Yep.
And the thing gets stuck and she's digging so hard in it, it cuts her fucking hand open.
Right.
And a lot of tension in that moment. And then finally, by the time they walk up to the piece, you realize, okay, she's gotten it out. But the look on Lonnie's face when he turns around, glances at Luthen, and then goes, realizes it's Luthen.
Yeah.
Because he has no idea. He's not seen him in this costume before.
Right.
So he's like, what? Oh, fuck. I love that look. And then the probably the best line of the arc, maybe of the season so far, is Luthen and Clea walking out of the party and him saying, "We should have killed Krennic while we were up there."
I know.
I fucking love that line. And they're laughing it up. Like,
man.
That's the spirit. Oh, God.
To go back, though, we didn't talk about when Clea first approached Lonnie.
And said, "I'm going to flirt with you."
Yeah. I know you're married or you have a wife or whatever, but I'm going to flirt with you. And she goes, "That's okay."
Yeah, because they're trying to play it up for his coworkers. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But he is so uncomfortable from the first second she walks in front of him. He's like, What are you doing?
She's like, "Lonnie, turn off the lights."
Yeah, exactly. He would know what to do. Oh, by the way, I saw an interview they showed with Ben Mendelsohn, and he was talking about how when Gilroy said, "Hey, would you be open to doing a few scenes in season 2?" He said, quote, "Fuck yeah, absolutely."
Wow.
He likes playing this character.
Oh, he's hamming it up in this season, man. He's having fun.
He described him. He goes, "He's fruitier this season. He's got a lot of pep in his step."
Yeah.
He doesn't have all the weight of the world on him yet.
Right. I think that was a smart way to play it.
Yeah, so he's less tense than we see him in Rogue One. All right, let's get to the heist on Ghorman. So Cinta and Vel meet up in this coffee shop, like you said, that nicely framed shot.
Right.
This is their first sighting in a year and their first time probably talking in 2 years since Aldhani, don't you think?
Right. Yeah, it is.
So she shares with Vel that she had this accident on a mission. Is this the murder of Take Holma where she had the accident?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be.
And she said, it gave me time to think. I was resting up and she's kind of shifted her tune a bit because, as much as she's still in on the cause, she doesn't want it to get in the way of her relationship with Vel anymore. Whereas last season, she would always say, the cause comes first, we take what's left. Mm-hmm. She's kind of shifting that around a little bit.
Yep.
And I mean, she was probably sitting around recouping and thinking, if I'm not out killing imps, what's my purpose here?
Exactly. Yeah.
So they run through the plan with the Ghorman front, and they insist that these dumb shits follow orders. They must say that line 16 times. Mm-hmm. You've got to follow orders.
Yep.
Then they say, don't ask any questions. Then they say, and I think I kind of missed this the first time, nobody has weapons except us.
Yes.
She goes, I'll repeat that, only us. And I think I missed that the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it obviously makes total sense the second time.
That screamed, someone's going to have a weapon besides them to me.
Right. Yeah, and it's dumbass Sam.
Yep. So
the night before the job, we get this nice moment between Cinta and Vel. They're kind of apologizing to each other, coming clean and kind of trying to mend their relationship and share their feelings. And Cinta then has this very telling line about Luthen where she says, "We're worth more to him separately than together." Oh, so true.
Yep.
They start kissing, go at it a bit. I'm watching this with my younger son. And as they kind of finish making out and like kind of staring at each other into each other's eyes, he sarcastically says, kind of mutters, "Woke." He said it so perfectly that I nearly peed my pants. It was so fucking funny. Oh God. He just did that perfect, like disdainful woke. Oh God. It was so fucking funny.
Meanwhile, I'm rewinding it.
Yeah, right. Son, leave the room.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the rewatch. Hot and heavy moment there. So it's go time on Ghorman in the ISB situation room. We've cleared it out. Just Portagaz and Dedra because they're going to be on site listening, or at least at ISB listening.
I am curious what your thoughts are here.
Okay. Well, so they're basically doing comms with Syril. He's on the ground relaying information, and they're kind of using him for information so that they can figure out exactly when to send in the response team. They want the Ghormans to succeed, but still look like there was a proper response.
Right.
Is your question coming yet, or you want me to keep going?
Nope, keep going.
Okay. So they take down the carrier, is what they called it, with some landmines. And that move Cinta does, that fucking parkour, flip off the goddamn balcony. Right. Holy shit.
Yep.
Pretty sweet final move.
We need an edit where someone just edits in Michael Scott yelling, "Parkour!" Did you also notice, like, was it this episode? Maybe it was the middle of the last one, but like every time you saw the street, like the first time you see the street he's walking, it's him and like a fucking baker with it's Kevin from The Office with his chili running across the street. You see that? and then like another one you see is like a couple of little like scooters, go by. The vehicles keep getting bigger.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
To the point where it's either the end of the second episode or the beginning of this one, you see those because they start talking about how they do the transports at night. And when they're monitoring, like the vehicles get bigger to the point those transports are fucking, they take up the whole road. Like, know, side to side, and what are they, fucking 20 feet long?
Well, because, it's these narrow, Paris-like streets. You're almost expecting fucking Remy from Ratatouille to run by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But to me, it was showing like the Empire's influence, like how they're coming in and taking over. I
see what you're saying, because like basically their big monstrosities can barely fit in the streets of this nice, beautiful little town that's been created. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about it that way. So then the mines take down this transport and they start unloading. I thought it was really cool the way they showed that first crate go down and the camera follows it all the way down and then all the way onto the truck. That was kind of cool.
It was that first shot from Bad Boys where they're robbing the police station with all the heroin.
Oh, there you go. So he stole it.
Yeah.
Everything's going pretty well. And then that's when the angry Ghorman guy from the meeting, Lazine, comes wandering up and he wants to know what's going on. And that fucking doofus Sam tries to stop him. I mean, first of all, he's trying to stop him and that's fine. But when he pushes past, he pulls his blaster out.
Right.
And I love how Lazine's like, you fucking sissy. You going to pull a gun on me? So in their struggle, the blaster goes off. Now, the second that happens, didn't you kind of know? Earlier, when there was a moment where Cinta is telling Vel how she feels and all these things, I turned to my younger son and said, she's going to die this episode.
Yeah. I was hoping for a better death than an accidental shot, but
I know it kind of feels like a stupid way, but this is the kind of dumb shit that happens in war, is you get these stupid, pointless deaths like this. So then, Vel reacts and it's just, eventually Lazine is like, let me carry your body. They get out of there, and the other thing that kind of sets it up that I kind of forgot about is when that one gal has to lead that woman away from her house, that pulls her out and it slows everything down because they were going to leave, but they're like, where'd the one gal go? And they're like, well, we'll wait another minute. Because if that wouldn't have happened, they would have already been gone.
Wasn't that why Cinta was shot?
Yes. Yeah. That all led to Cinta being shot.
Left her post, right.
Exactly. So then in the transport, as they're driving away, the dude who shot Cinta, Sam, is whimpering and Vel just lays into him.
Yes, she does.
She's basically like, you don't get to cry, motherfucker. And you're going to have the rest of your life to think about this, and her death is on your hands.
Right.
Good news. You're probably going to die in the Ghorman massacre. So you only got about a year. But yeah, there's, like I said, it shows the harshness of war to see a death so silly like that. But at least Cinta and Vel, were able to reconnect. Could you imagine if they hadn't reconnected before she died? That would have been even more heartbreaking. So
might have been easier for her to get over because, like, now she's like, we got a future, and then she's, no, we don't.
True. And that's it. That's the end of the episode.
That's it. Closes out. Yeah.
So
back in the where Deirdre and fucking Partagaz.
Oh, right.
Is that where the line is said? There's a line between these two where he alludes that Syril is being used for another reason. Like he's not aware of something that she knows. Like and
he says something about you're walking a narrow path, and then he says, make sure Syril doesn't know what's going on here. And she said, I remind myself of that all the time.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, yep. And then, but seeing, because we kind of alluded to it as he's going through these meetings, and I think there's going to be a divide. I really think he's going to find a different cause to fight for.
You think so? Because he is real fucking excited to be an agent for the Empire. I mean, I could see him feeling like,
but that's just not going to give him purpose. Like, well, in the end,
I could see him being like, I'm putting my heart and soul into this, and the second I'm fucked over by the Empire, then I'm going to be like, screw you. Essentially, what the Ghorman front thinks the place he's at, they think he is at now. Right. He may get to. Like he may get to that point where he becomes 100% disenchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
It just seems like they're setting that up because the way they were showing all the relationships, like the theme with like how they were relating to each other and being with each other, and even though we had the turn the lights out scene, like you don't see anything with them, and it just seems like he's going to find something else.
You could be right. Well, and here's the thing. Let's talk about what we think might happen in this next arc, because we've been getting about one or two kind of sort of key deaths every arc so far. So I'm trying to figure out who's going to die in 7 to 9. He could be one of them. I think he could be collateral damage in the Ghorman massacre.
Really?
Because he's there.
Sure. Well, I think they're all there.
Yeah, there's a scene in the trailer where he walks out like when some shit's going off, like when the explosions are happening and stuff or whatever. So I think he might get caught in that crossfire a little bit. And then she has to deal with the fact that she sent him to his death, essentially. I think Lonnie is either going to die or get arrested. I think they're going to realize, like you said, part of guys is going to go, I told these two guys, and then the information got back and Gorse is dead, so you're fucked. I think Lonnie's got to go under.
But I'm trying to think because what was the only two people that would even when he was, what was his name? The guy that moved up into her spot?
Hirt.
Because he would have had the past information about whatever that rebel guy was that they gave the information
Krieger?
on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look at like everything that lines up. Those two both are the ones who have the same information.
So maybe he gets saved. Maybe Lonnie's saved because they take out Hirt instead.
Yep. Yeah. So it could be that. I'm not saying Lonnie's not gonna find his a maker, but it might might fuck up and kill the wrong one.
The other thing I thought about is I still keep thinking about that shot we saw of Cassian. I think he's back at that hotel on Ghorman with the sniper rifle.
Right.
Is he going to have to like shoot Lonnie or somebody like that so that they don't get turned over to the hands of the Empire, much like he was going to do to Galen Erso in Rogue One?
Oh,
but he couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? I think we're going to have a moment like that.
So
you're going to see him actually do it.
That means he does it, and he does it for the wrong reason, and that's why he can't kill Galen.
Correct. And because all he's been talking about, Diego Luna, is how all these things happening in this season are going to make you think differently about what you see in Rogue One. Yeah. So I bet you he kills somebody, and then that's what makes him pause.
So he kills Luthen.
It could be Luthen. I don't know about Luthen. Fuck if he kills Luthen. I mean, he's got a lot of reasons to.
I think, he does. But I also think like there's going to be a lot going on that both causes this massacre and during the massacre.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We know homeboy that helps Saw get his goods. What's his name?
You talking about Wilmon?
Wilmon, yeah. We know he's there.
Yes, you're right, because they do show a shot of him there with the gun out. Yeah.
Yep. And there's explosions going on. So, I think Saw's got his people there. Maybe he's there. I think there's a bunch of things going on. Luthen has put everything into play. So I think it's going to be...
It could be a massacre on many levels, not just the Ghormans, but a lot of our favorite characters.
And this is going to be really between the sections, like not just like Mon Mothma leaving the Senate and taking control, but like all of these people are going to realize we're fighting for the same cause but doing it differently, and we just fucked they're all going to fuck each other up.
Right, so it's an example of why we should need to come together or we're all going to die.
Yep.
Well, so do you think in this arc it's going to go like episode 7, set up the massacre, episode 8, massacre, episode 9, aftermath? Or do you think that massacre is going to go all the way to episode 9?
I think it'll...
The only reason why I could see the aftermath, some of the aftermath happening in episode 9 is because maybe that's how, when we see Mon deliver that speech and get out of there. I don't know if that... Because you think that would wait a year after the massacre for her to deliver that speech?
It does seem weird to wait a year.
Yeah.
But also, like, the way they've been structuring these episodes, it's the big event, the big heist, event, the whatever happens in the third, So, a 3-act structure. So, it would make sense. Or it's like a ticking time clock in that second episode. And then you're like, oh, shit, everything's, the third episode is just, everything happens. And maybe we see the result of it in that episode as well.
Yeah, originally I thought they would save the massacre for episode 9, but I just started thinking about the stuff that happens with Mon would make a lot more sense to happen in the immediate aftermath, not a year later. Right. Well, do you think I had speculated about Luthen's death? Do you think Luthen makes it through the massacre?
If he doesn't, I'm trying to see how this would work because.
Well, so this could happen in the next arc, but we have that Clea and Cassian scene where like she's distraught. Maybe at that safe house. I think that's
after he's dead. I think that's because it's a big white room, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was the safe house. Is that at a bigger room?
I'd have to look at the
I can't remember now.
Trailer
again. But they look distraught talking to each other, and it made me wonder is that post Luthen death, and is it also post Bix death? Have they both lost their person at that point? I don't know. Feels like Bix has got to die in the last arc though.
Yeah.
If she's gonna die.
Didn't they come out and say that you find out there's an episode number that I think Skarsgård said that was the backstory.
His backstory? Yes.
Was it episode 9 or was it episode 10?
I think you're right. I think it was episode 10. So why would you show that backstory unless he's already, if he's already dead? So maybe he doesn't die till the final arc, or if he does die in the massacre.
But then we open up in 10.
Yeah, right. And I could see that.
We see the story told from his point of view that led to that.
So the Kalea Cassian meeting happens in episode 10 later, after we get the backstory on how they came together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see for story, for writing, like to show Cassian to be the one to shoot Luthen.
Oh,
for what reason? We don't know yet, but that's like, holy shit, why, I
think, that's a good point. There's a number of ways you could set that up.
He's kind of lost his way, like, especially if he's the one that kind of puts this whole massacre into play.
It's hard for me to imagine him killing Luthen unless he felt Luthen was responsible for Bix's death.
Yeah, true.
That would be the only way I could see him doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess she has to die before he gets his buddy, right?
That's the other thing I was going to ask. Is K2SO, you would think he's going to be introduced in this arc because I think they show those line of droids like that.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't like Syril in the room? Doesn't he walk into a room and there's like 6 of them?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in the,
So I would think that happens this arc.
Yeah, because they're probably bringing them in. Like that's part of them arming the place up, right?
Yeah, they're beefing up the presence of the Empire on Ghorman.
Yep.
So you would think there's a transition there where Bix is gone and K2SO is in the fold.
Right. Also B2 Emo. He's just gone for good? Or are we going to find him back? Like, what's going to happen?
Maybe that happens toward the end. Maybe somebody's going to sneak. Well, or if somebody survives, like if Bix survives, which I don't think she will, but if she survives, maybe that's the scene they show is her going and picking him up from that planet.
Well, how does he get his personality? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, you still think that there's a possibility that gets fed into him?
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, because he was taken aback. Like there was something that, when we watched the episodes and went through them, the way that he was, the way that Cassian notices how Luthen's ship has a personality.
Right.
And I'm wondering if there's a tie there. Is like, okay, I can do that with this droid.
So he's mimicking that, not okay.
Because that's the only way you're going to get one of those giant fucking robots that's already pinned him up against a wall and, has no fucking care for his life. But you put B2 Emo wants to fucking crawl inside of his skin. Like, the most loyal thing you could do is put that in one of those giant fucking robots.
I just don't think that those two personalities necessarily align.
I don't either. Right.
But I guess maybe if it's a mixture of the two, somehow that works out. I'm not sure. They got to do something with B2. There's no way they're just going to leave him. There's got to be some mention of him or some scene that they show later. Mm-hmm. You would think. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe B2 ends up getting swooped up by Saw and he's on Jeddah.
Oh, that
poor guy.
Live out his days with that guy. Oh,
well, then Cassian would have seen him in Rogue One.
That's true.
Cassian sees him in Rogue One. He's like, Cassian, he's like, God damn it, I can't get away from you.
What are you doing here?
I'm trying to leave you for my whole life. All right. I didn't have any other thing unless you did for predictions or anything. Okay. See, we still had a long show, even with only talking about Andor, because, you get deep. By the way, a reminder that in 2 days from now, if I can get this episode up tonight, which I'll try, we will have our May the 4th episode, which is the Factba Stories Volume 4. So have a listen to that. There's some fun stuff coming there. And then we'll be back to our regular episode next week when we cover 7 through 9.
Yeah. So if you love it, let us know. If you don't, let Max Rebo know.
What if they like it or got to have it? Is it just if they love it?
They got to have They like it and got to have it. Yeah.
Cold Stone Creamery.
Right.
Like it, love it, got to have it.
More coming to you. So thank you for listening. And until next time, which is in 2 days,
laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We have spoken.